welcome. Another episode, keeping it orange and blue. Another Monday night. College football's not finished yet, but as we see, Bill Belichick's getting welcome in to college football with a nice.
It was over.
Yeah, he was wishing. Yeah, you're right. He was wishing that this week's over. Thanks for everybody tuning in, all our followers on X and YouTube, and please, if you have not subscribed to our channel. 200 columns on YouTube, keeping it orange and blue. We appreciate you. So yeah, been a good week. Big game for Illinois next week against Duke, 11 a.m. Central on ESPN right after game day. But tonight we're gonna preview that. We're gonna break down Western Illinois from Friday night. I was there, took the whole family. It was a beautiful night, weather-wise. 56,000 people, Kev. I told you it was going to be a nice showing. A lot of people.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome.
It was good. It was good to see, and it was loud, and it was fun. So a lot to talk about. There were some things you really weren't that happy about, and you want to kind of talk about. And we're both going to talk about things we liked as well. A couple things we didn't like, and Illinois should be. They might be in the top 10 tomorrow when the poll comes out. We'll see. I think they'll definitely move up at least one spot with Bama getting dominated. It'll be interesting to see if Clemson moves out of the top 10, losing at home to LSU, and then Notre Dame losing a close one at Miami. We'll see. I doubt they'll move out of the top 10, but we'll see. I think Illinois will probably be 10 or 11 tomorrow when the AP poll comes out.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, how much it affects Notre Dame, how much it affects Clemson, how much it affects Texas. Top 10's great, but listen, it's not going to mean anything if you don't handle business this week. You handle business this week, you're probably right there anyway. So that's what matters. These preseason rankings are fun. It keeps us in the conversation. It keeps us being talked about. We're already being talked about on a national scale, as Chris Felica says he really likes Duke in this game already. That'll be one of the Bears' picks most likely on Saturday morning during game day. So,
okay, he already likes Duke. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so that's all right. So it's just got to get things focused. I'll just start, and I'm not going to just try to dive too much into the negative. I was frustrated with a couple different things in this ball game. Number one, I was frustrated with the O-line play. We had 80 yards total rushing through three quarters. Now, granted, some of that was Luke's sacks. And listen, I'm going to put almost all of the sacks that were taken in the game on Altmaier. I think he held on to the ball too long a couple times. I think he could have just, dirted a couple, thrown a couple out of bounds, whatever, fine. I think he was trying to create some things to get open. As a matter of fact, Jason Braun's like, hey, Luke was trying to play buddy ball with Cole Rusk. Hey, listen, one of the ones with Cole Rusk, ball was thrown slightly behind him. And the other one was they were offside, so it was kind of a free play where Luke tried to hit him down towards the goal line. Yeah, I think you're probably trying to force the ball to your buddy a little bit in a game where you're beating the crap out of Western Illinois. I don't think it's going to be a problem going forward. But I was upset with our inability to go ahead and just move the pile from an offensive line standpoint and run the ball effectively. Like I said, 80 yards rushing at the end of the third quarter. That included a 25-yard run by Lawfrey. Lawfrey, if you look at that, Brandon Henderson misses an assignment and Lawfrey immediately has to jut out to his left, and it worked because he's fast and great because he's able to outrun Western Illinois defenders. You're not going to be able to outrun the defenders outside of Western Michigan, maybe Purdue. I don't know how fast those guys are, but whatever. The schedule just for the rest of the season is not really going to allow you to just outrun guys there. So now, that being said, if we'd had this show Saturday morning or even Friday night, I'd have been fire ass out at the offensive line. Watched enough film, watched the game again. I'm backing off on it a little bit, and here's some of the reasons why. I didn't see Luke check at the line hardly at all. If he did at all, it'd surprise me. There were times where we ran the ball up the middle against 9-man fronts.
Yep.
And I think.
Why do you think that is, Kev?
I think it's by design.
Yep.
I think that's by design. They wanted. I think they. Now then again, and I also think they probably threw the ball more against Western than they probably would have intended to. I think if Pat Bryant and Zakari Franklin were your wide receivers in this game, I don't think Luke Altmaier throws the ball 20 sometimes through three quarters plus of action. So I think there were some designs to try and get those guys involved, but also, hey, listen, we're not going to go ahead and just try and pound this rock here. So Henderson, he's one of our guys. Big fan of that kid. Was a little bit late for the team meeting, so he didn't start. Missed a couple series. Did not play well. Bielema called him out at half.
You can't miss a meeting and pout about it though. Like
I don't think he missed it. I think he was late.
No. Okay, sorry. Yeah, late. That's life, man. You know what I mean? Like this is your job as much as it's a job, and you're getting paid for it too. By the way.
Well, yeah. I mean,
so it is what it is.
Late for work and every thing in the world. So I mean, it happens. So I give him some grace on that end. But what would you really like to see if the guy doesn't start because of that? You'd hope he comes out and plays with his hair on fire, and it didn't happen. Got to get a better performance out of those guys against Duke. And then the other aspect, if it wasn't for, and I've got a guy I'm going to defend in this a little bit later, if it wasn't for Hank Beatty's return ability, the special teams would have probably got an F from me, right? So you look at kick return, punt return, we only punted one time. No kick returns were done fine. So that's kind of an incomplete. The punt return game was phenomenal. No kick return. So that gives us an A there. But, dude, you get a field goal blocked and you have a 29-yard punt. Like, that is just bad. And I think this is all good things because here you are, you're coming off a 52-3 win, and everybody could be feeling themselves. I know this for a fact. Brett Bielema was not happy with this performance out of this team, and he's going to light some fire under their asses this week because the special teams and the O-line were supposed to be really big strengths of this football team, and I think they both underperformed.
Yeah, and we're gonna play a little not good cop, bad cop, but he mentioned some things that were bad or he didn't like, and then I'll jump into some stuff that it was good. But then I've got a couple things too. I'll just knock out mine right now. I think Luke Altmaier wasn't as sharp as we would have liked to see. I think
21 for 3 touchdowns, though, man. Like I think
I'm just saying though, but trust me, that there were some open guys on some stuff. And when I mean sharp, I mean he was holding on to the ball when he had guys wide open out in the flat. Dude, just get rid of it. Like
the play that
it was on the right in your red zone before halftime, right?
Yeah, yeah. That was the play that we were wanting, the targeting play. He had Lawfrey available for a dump down instead of him running it. And then here's the other thing, Luke, you got the first down, slide, buddy. Slide. Sorry. Like if he got a concussion in that game and missed Duke against Western Illinois, just slide, buddy.
Yeah. So also there were some new people in there, I guess, on that field goal attempt. I guess Bielema said learning experience for a couple guys.
Yeah, Kirk and Cohen got split there. I agree with Bill Moe. He said the field goal kick was on Dio. Yeah, he did not. David Alano did not get nearly enough immediate height on a 28-yard kick. But still, that guy split that. Like, that can't happen. So,
but, so there was a pass. I think it was maybe more on Bowick who stopped. He stopped a little bit early on that touchdown, wide open. It was a wide open in the back of the end zone. Probably would have caught it. Maybe.
Did he stumble, you think, or did he just slow up?
It looked like it had to have been either a stumble or he hesitated because you could see it. It almost looked like he took a plant, like he was going to kick inside.
Yeah.
And then when he looked back, he realized Altmaier had put it more straight line to where he was going to go, not where he was going.
It was a great
instead of where he was going.
Yeah.
And then he had to reverse back, and that created that split seconds, all you need to underthrow it. Also, Beatty, he underthrew the ball to Beatty that was wide open.
I'll stand. Okay, so we should get Riley O'Toole on this show for this. Like, I've heard coaches talk about this. In a situation like Beatty's where he's got 5 to 10 yards of separation like that, quarterbacks are actually taught, don't try to lead him into a perfect position. Throw the ball where you know it can be caught. And I think that might have been the case. Now, granted, it's a 45 ball travels 45 yards in the air. Luke might say, "Hey, I underthrew it," but you just want that to be a completion. So, but I do agree with you.
I get it though. I just know that Beatty had
3 more yards on that ball. It's easy. Beatty slows down a little bit, catches it, walks in the end zone.
Yeah. So I didn't say that Altmaier was bad. He was good, but I'm saying you could tell it was the first game of the year.
Yeah.
So other than that's really not a bad nitpick. It's more of like there were some moments that the sacks really were the decisions that where you were like, what are we doing?
Well,
But
Brian, it's the same thing with me as the offensive line. You have expectations for a guy.
yeah.
And that's the same for me. I have expectations from the special teams and the offensive line that are extremely high because I know these guys can do this, and they didn't. And I agree with you. Luke Altmaier probably played a B game, right?
Yep.
It was,
Yep.
and we know he can play better. And
Yep.
Luke,
Another one, I think. Yeah. Patterson on the outside kind of struggled too. Caleb Patterson is not, and I've said this in group chats with you, Kev. Caleb Patterson is their best run stopping, tackling corner. He's not really a very good cover corner. I'm not necessarily sure if he's because he bites on stuff or what. I mean, he's basically covering, making sure it's not a run first, and he gets beat off the line because he's not going to get beat, in the run game. And maybe they want him to be that way. I don't know, but there was times where Caleb Patterson, I can tell you this, going into next week with Duke, as we get into that, he's going to have to be better. And I know Jaheim Clark's, Bill Mose mentioned, but of course we were going to mention it anyway. I think Jaheim Clark is going to be a guy who's going to play a lot when he's fully healthy. He's getting back from a little hamstring thing that's he's had for a month or so, which they think that if he can't be back for Duke, he'll be back for Western Michigan. But you definitely want all hands on deck for a team that is going to throw the ball a lot, and they don't really run it as effective, which is Duke. So I would say this: I'd like to see Caleb Patterson bring his A game next week. And while I was the first quarter, the defensive line left a little bit to be desired. I didn't really like that first drive. Western Illinois was able to pound the ball they were pounding the ball on the guys and falling forward for 4 and 5 yards. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? And then we saw, Akis, and then I saw Daniel Brown had plenty of penetration when he was in the game.
He did. He almost Akis got a full sack on one where Danny Brown was right there with him. I want to go back to the Patterson thing. The one aspect about it, rewatch the game today. Listen to all the other Illini guys podcasts that are out there, not just Illini guys, but all the other ones are out there because I do.
Malachi Hood is a dog, Adrian.
Yeah, hell yeah, he is. And we'll talk about him a little bit later. Western was really working the dink and dunk pass, and I am not giving Patterson a pass on this, but when they ran that double move where he got beat down the sideline, I get it. I'm just saying that I just think there's a level of, hey man, they're not going to go up on me. I'm gonna try and maybe bite on this and get a pick six because they're not throwing the ball deep at all, and he got worked. Now on the other one where they had their almost touchdown, the play that was ruled a touchdown on the field, he was in great position. It was just he just mistimed his jump. That's all. He just jumped too soon, and so therefore he wasn't able to get both hands up by the time the ball got there. I think those are things that can be fixed. But Ryan, I agree with you. He is not the stickiest cover corner. He's really good in zone coverage. He's really good in stopping the run. But this is a beautiful thing about Illinois football is if Caleb Patterson isn't working, even next week when we have Jaheim Clark out, Xavier Cox can go out there and play that boundary corner. And Xavier Scott, I keep saying that. Yeah. Xavier Scott can go play that boundary corner with Torrey Cox. And Tanner Eckel can come up and play the star. Miles Scott played the star some on Friday night, folks. So you could put Mac Racetich at Miles Scott's position. Miles Scott can play Xavier Scott's position. Xavier Scott. But I think Tanner Eckel could come in and play the star. Tanner Eckel looked good in his limited time there.
They're saying Eckel and Racetich are their two most athletic players. So,
right. So my thing is this: I don't think that Caleb Patterson, I think he's really talented. He's a big corner. We need that. I don't think there's going to be a long leash if he continues to struggle. I'll give him a little bit of grace on it, but I'd like to see him improve there. So
yeah, and that's really all I've got. I know that we got the one punt, and I mean it's almost kind of like it's one punt, so I'm not going to be too much on it. I bet you Brett
29 yards, man, 29 yards.
I bet Brett though would have loved to see maybe one more punt in there, correct? Right. Get a little bit of work, and it's okay at some point. Also, too, I think we're going to get into it too, but like Hank Beatty, not just his return game, but 108 yards receiving. What a spectacular game by him. I loved what we saw from Bowick, though. You see his size, and
dude, how about his size to be able to run that, what they call the jerk route, the whip route? Beatty ran it early in the game. It was an Isaiah Williams specialty, but that was the touchdown. The first touchdown Bowick caught, the short yardage one, was the whip route, and he left his guy spun out in the dust. Dude, you don't see 6'5" guys get out of a break like that. That's where I was like, Justin Bowick may be a little bit different.
18 sub packages for the secondary. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yep. And the depth, it's pretty stellar. I loved seeing Elzy getting time. Elzy had a nice catch there. Nice little 10-yard grab wasn't an easy catch either because Luke threw it a little low, but
yep. And then he had the other one where he slipped the tackle and took it for about 15. So
yep. So again, you see Elzy look, and there was no drop issues. I said this in the games. Elzy does not have these issues that he's got in practice, and that's okay. And then you saw them try to get Hudson Clement involved too. They tried to throw him that little fade route, and it just didn't hit him right where it was like in, and then Altmaier threw it out.
I'll put that one on Clement. I think Clement's got to get his head around a little quicker. I think that's just coming around with time and playing with his team and with Altmaier. I think that ball is perfectly placed. Clement gets his head around quicker, understands where the ball's coming to him there. That's a touchdown.
He said Luke on one of those throws missed Hudson in the end zone. I think maybe that's what I was talking about. But you think
one where Hudson and Elzy, from what I've heard, I haven't seen all 22, were wide open on a couple plays and Luke missed it.
And I would say this: hey, good to see Alex Kapka-Jones with a catch and make a guy miss.
Yeah,
and that was a good move. You can see he's a dependable guy. I think and the fact that we didn't see Ashton Hollins till the end of the game.
Yeah, Mario Sanders with a nice little catch there.
Braden Trimble played, people. I told you guys.
I don't think he's gonna play much more. There were some other guys like Isaiah White who played too. I don't see we're gonna see that much more. So,
the one where Jabo got a pass interference, he had Hudson on the other side wide open.
The offensive pass interference on Bowick.
Yes. I will say too, though, Tanner Arkin touchdown was almost like clockwork, right? We called it.
We called it. Yeah.
We were just like, there's three things for certain in life, right? Death, taxes, and Tanner Arkin touchdown.
Little 3-yarders, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Ryan, I cut you off because I wanted to talk about Caleb Patterson earlier, but you were talking about the defensive line, man.
But they sure turned it around, huh?
Tomowa is the man. Like that dude, Tomowa Durje, was incredibly good Friday night. Like he had a play where he chucked the offensive lineman, then skipped over him, and Akis ended up running the quarterback out of bounds for like a 1 or 2 yard run. Like I was so impressed with Tomowa Durje. Like that guy's the goods.
How scary is that when James Thompson's the guy we were talking about all the time, and
I think James Thompson was really solid. I think Kurt Neal was really solid. Gentle Hunt was in there making plays. Like there's some things about this team, and then of course Malachi Hood was flying all over the place. There was also a blown assignment by James Kreutz, when that tight end caught that 25-yarder.
Yeah.
Went back and rewatched it. Initially, I thought it was on Bailey. I'll give Kreutz benefit of doubt here that he knows what he was talking about. He looked at Bailey and said that was on me. There's some things that can get cleaned up. We got a lot of guys out on this defense that can play. I think the defensive line was extremely good. And
I know this. Everybody calling for the Duke win next week. If they think that Elon, if the Illinois defensive line and the Elon defensive line are not the same, if they think that Darian Mintz is just going to get all the time in the world to throw back there,
yeah,
it's not happening.
Adrian Brown, the linebackers did look good. We saw JoJo Hayden's speed on a really nice play where he didn't make the tackle, but it was a pitch to outside. 30 came flying in and made the back divert a little wider. The back ended up getting a yard or two, but it was just man, that's some speed at the linebacker position we haven't had.
Let's keep it fair here on honest. I want your general and honest opinion here. I had a couple people complaining to me thinking that Kenenna Odeluga struggled there a little bit.
I just didn't see anything from him that popped. I
I
think
guess
maybe
like missed a tackle,
yeah.
missed some assignment out of the backfield, and I'm thinking he's more of like your pass. He's a pass rushing more of threat to me. I've always thought that.
Yeah, I really think what you might end up seeing is that Kanena might get pat. Like you got to get Malachi Hood on the field. JoJo Hayden's speed pops. There's a chance that one of those two guys might end up moving. Like Malachi's Rosiak's backup right now. I don't know how complex and diverse the challenges are for moving from middle to weak side. I'm not going to pretend like I know, but I think there's a chance that you could see that. And Kanena's used in more of those turbo packages when we need to get some pressure on the quarterback because he's still dynamic at that. He's still really.
He was their starter though. You know what I mean? He's starting.
Well, one of the things you saw from Western, I mean, I could count on two hands where they took more than 3 seconds to throw, and we still got 5 sacks.
Yeah.
So we were getting pressure all night long. That defensive line was making, and why Rosiak looked good is because Kurt Neal, General Hunt, McCollum, those guys were, and James Thompson were keeping them clean. They were occupying those offensive linemen. Now, listen, some Illini folks might know this name, some might not. Jeff Johnson still has a newsletter that goes out. I subscribe to it. I communicate with Jeff. He was one of the first guys I followed in like the recruiting and football websites world. He thinks that Western has some offensive linemen that are going to get some NFL looks simply based on size and mobility. He says that offensive line is not as bad as we might think it might be. So that's pretty nice that Illinois asserted their will on the defensive end. So,
now I will say too that I personally didn't see Leon Lowry. Was he out there?
He played 9. He was out there.
Okay.
I mean, just really didn't do anything.
Yeah, we're getting to know so many new faces and stuff. I'm gonna be honest, where I was sitting up there enjoying my time up in the bleacher, up in the east balcony. Heck, I didn't realize it, but we ended up sitting next to some students from Ireland who were doing this exchange program for the School of Aces.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like confused on where their seats were, and they were like, wow, like this crowd, you guys have big crowds, huh? Is this pretty typical? And I'm like, no. I was like, this is just a new thing. Yes, and I'm going to get to him. So a couple of things that good things. Other than that, seeing just amazing crowd. Just it was full. It was beautiful. The student section mostly stayed pretty full till maybe towards the end of the third quarter. And when it's 45-3, a lot of people are. My son was ready to go too. I made him stay until the middle of the fourth quarter. So I was like, we're staying. But Khalil Valentine does deserve some love. Just seeing the burst he's got, right? Just seeing the agility and his athleticism. I actually loved Phil Simms calling the game because I think Phil Simms knows football. Like, it's good to have a guy who knows and understands the game, I think, at a high level calling the game. And Phil Simms was a big Khalil Valentine fan. So
yeah, I think Jason Ron said it really well here in our chat is that his ability to cut at full speed and shimmy through small holes is really impressive. It is really impressive that we have such unique backs. I mean, Lawfrey and Valentine are similar, but Lawfrey does have some shake, and
Lawfrey's a little bit bigger though and can take on some tackles a little bit better.
He's more of that one cut and go kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then I was pretty impressed with Caden Fagan's patience on a couple runs, and his ability that is so underrated in football. You watch Caden Fagan get hit, and he picks up 2 to 3 more yards. Like he's got ability to catch, spin, roll off a guy, 2 to 3 more yards, and that's such a big factor, and will make such a big difference as we play teams like Duke and Indiana and USC and Ohio State coming up.
And you know what I'm actually happy about? We're about to jump into the Duke so Duke is doing a blue out for Illinois, and I love that because that's preparing Illinois for Indiana. Excuse me, fellas, and everyone watching. But yeah, so Duke, we're doing a blue out against Illinois. But I will say that's preparing Illinois for these big games coming up because Indiana is probably going to have some special ordeal because they've got it's going to be a top 15 national matchup as long as Illinois takes care of business. So I don't think this team is worried about that situation. I think Brett will use that there's a lot of people picking Duke already and already not believing in Illinois, because I just don't get when you watch the Duke highlights against Elon that what sticks out that would say they have what it takes to beat Illinois already. Like, yeah, Duke was not. It was a 7-point game in the fourth quarter. It was 24-17 in the fourth quarter. I was keeping up with that game all Thursday night, and Elon was able to run the ball pretty effectively. 161 yards with that offensive line against Duke. Duke does like to run a lot of 3-man fronts, and then they blitz off of that. So they'll bring I don't know if you probably are delving into some of this as I speak, but Manny Diaz does throw a lot of different things out there. But I watched 3-man fronts, and he likes to blitz with his linebackers to create a 5-man, attack of the quarterback. So our linemen are going to be really facing a lot of at least 2 linebackers, usually quite often, trying to use their speed to get around the edges.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see, he loves a man blitz. And I think what you might be able to see is Illinois working some screen game, some draw play action, some wide receiver screen, where you could potentially get some busts on that. And then furthermore, what we could see is some Luke run. Absolutely, Nathan Dorsett. I think you're going to see some read option there with Luke. Now, not run him a ton, but I think there's the ability, like Luke didn't run at all, anything remotely designed there. I think that to slow down that man blitz, little read option, Luke keep for a critical 3rd and 5 and pick up 12 is going to happen and probably get them on their heels a little bit. And I like that. I was just looking at tickets. I went on TickPick. Section 6 is at the 50-yard line behind Illinois bench. You can get in there for $36. Like, I don't give a shit about their blue out. Like, I don't think
they're
they
calling
care
for that because it's a top 10, top 12 opponent on national TV. But I'm telling you this, unless this is like where their team's ranked highly, and maybe if it was against North Carolina or something like that, it would be a sellout. Or when Notre Dame came to town, they had a big sellout. Illinois is probably not a sexy name for their fan base to come try to show up.
It's noon o'clock their time, man, and it's going to be hot, dude.
Yeah, and I get 90 degrees, right?
Yeah, and that's something I really love, our depth on defense there. I think that makes a huge difference. I think our depth on defense is going to make a big difference.
Yep, and our cornerbacks with the size and length of a lot of those guys is not the same. They have a FCS All-American. It's a white wideout. I'm trying to remember his last name. It's
Barkate.
Barkate, yes. He's
from Harvard.
Yeah. Yep, he had a big game against Elon, and then they had another kid that had a 2 or 3 touchdown game. But that Barkate's legit. He reminds me of Hank Beatty. Barkate's, he's about similar size, similar speed. So he reminds me of Hank Beatty. So again, it's nothing our defense isn't going to be able to have seen already. The defense is going to have seen guys like this. Pat Bryant going against him all year last year. And then this year you've still got a lot of size and speed with Illinois' wide receiver set. So the way Illinois may struggle here is if Illinois' defensive line can't get pressure on Mensah. If you give Mensah 5-6 seconds to throw, he'll find somebody. But I just don't think he's going to have that long to throw.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think that I think that Illinois didn't show nearly very many exotics, if you will, in the past rush, if you will. I don't think we saw the turbo packages, if you will, like I'd like to talk about with Odaluga and Brown and Yakis and Barna potentially all getting up there and just coming full speed, full throat down at them. And I think that the Illinois will draw some of that up. The key to that is to force them into real passing downs. The key to that is to force them into 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s. I said it last week on the show. I'll say it again. I think the school record's 41 sacks. I think this team has a chance to break that record this year because I think the dynamic guys that we have, the ability to get to the quarterback. Mensah can move. He's not really a runner, though, is he, Ryan?
He just doesn't run. He just doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And I will say too, Illinois did not show anything sexy of their run game package. Why do you think it was like, hey, let's do a whole drive here, just smashing Fagan into the line, right?
yeah,
Let's like if people think that Illinois is going to run the same stuff against Duke, the run game, they're not going to. That's why we were like, why aren't we throwing here? And Illinois did throw too, but I got to be honest, it wasn't exotic pass plays either.
yeah.
Like it was a lot of like, hey, fade to the end zone, go to the back of the end zone. You know, like it wasn't anything. There wasn't like 4 or 5 guys doing, crossing and slants, hitting the outside. It was a lot of like Hank Beatty run 10 yards, stop at the first down marker. Bowick, on the opposite side, head to the back of the pylon.
Yeah, I think we showed enough to keep Duke honest, but I'd like to see Colin Dixon used a little bit more. Malik Elzy. I'd like to see both those guys with the opportunities to run after the catch. You got the vertical threat in Bowick that you have. I think you got a vertical threat in Clement. It's going to come down to this. I'm going to stand on this. I'm going to say it over and over again, and that's why I was so excited. The defensive line played a ton of guys. They should play a ton of guys on Saturday as well. Is if Illinois can keep teams from running the ball and force teams into passing downs, Illinois will get after them. And I've got some full confidence that Barry Lundy's got some stuff to drawn up against the Manny Diaz man blitz system, whether it's draws, screens, read options with Luke keeping that should keep them at bay. And then what Illinois is going to do, and what Illinois is going to need to do is get the lead in the fourth quarter, and that's when that 255-pound running back running down your throat in 90-degree heat, you're going to stop tackling that dude. And I think that's what we saw as well. Is like Caden Fagan is that second half back, and will continue to be that second half back for this team moving forward.
By the way, Josh McCray, 2 carries for 6 yards.
My understanding is Josh had a pretty significant illness through training camp that's kept him back. He was listed as 7th in their depth chart, but he did end up playing. I can't hate on anything from Josh McCray. What he gave us.
No, I was just giving everybody an update. Okay,
Yeah.
No deal, no big deal. We don't hate Josh McCray. I mean, Josh McCray. Without Josh McCray, Illinois doesn't beat South Carolina in the Citrus Bowl.
Nope.
Illinois doesn't even win 9 games last year, let alone 10.
Doesn't beat Penn State the game of the barge package. So
yeah, no doubt. No, I just wanted people to know what was going on because that is where Fagan is taking over now. That's where McCray and him would have split those carries.
Torres, I agree. Patterson's a concern, but I think that there's backup pieces in place. I don't think Illinois is not. Nobody on this team outside of maybe number 9 and some offensive linemen and Gabe Akis have long leashes. I'll give it this: unless you're a captain on this team or Matt Bailey, you don't have a long leash.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the rest of the guys are just so proven. Like if Tanner Arkin blows a blocking assignment, it's not like Davin Stoffel's coming in there to take his place. Let's be real here.
So when we get into this, Illinois has past experience playing Manny Diaz defense. They did when he was the defensive coordinator at Penn State for James Franklin. I think he was the defensive coordinator in that 7 overtime game that Illinois won.
He was the defensive coordinator in Luke's worst college game.
Yeah, that really bad game in Champaign, correct. So they have experience. The difference, though, is the athletes on the other side of the field are not the same. It's the same system, but it is not the same players. He does change things up a little bit as well. I will say that the biggest factor, obviously, is Darian Mensah. So if you guys have not seen him, go watch the highlights from Duke versus Elon. He's a very impressive guy. He throws a good ball. Like I said, you give him 4 to 6 seconds back there, he's going to find somebody. They got a couple really good wideouts. Defensively, no one really stood out. Again, they got a bunch of guys flying all over the field. So, I think Illinois opens up as it was a 2.5-point favorite. I think it was up to 3, right, Kevin? Already,
it's bouncing around in there. My understanding, it started at 1.5, moved to 3, 3.5, 4. I think it's 3 today. So I mean, I think you probably had some money from some wise guys come in on Illinois early.
What isn't it already 3 points already to the home team? Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, it's basically it.
Okay, so really, it's like a 6. They have Illinois as like a 6-point favorite, then pretty much.
Yeah, here's my thing. Duke was able to get to the quarterback for Elon 3 times. Elon only threw the ball 18 times, so that's telling me Duke's got a little bit of a pass rush. But Elon was picked to finish 6th or 7th in the Coastal Athletic Association. That's about the same place Western was picked in the Ohio Valley. I do think the Coastal's a little bit better of an FCS league, but they played a team that's probably somewhat similar to Western. I mean,
yeah, and it was a 7-point game in the fourth quarter. It was really something where it was like, this game's not over. Like,
yeah,
they pulled away late with a long touchdown run and a punt return in the fourth quarter, similar to what Illinois had, but Illinois was also up 38-3 when they had those things.
Duke didn't have a single running back run the ball for more than 7 times. Jaquez Moore, he's a kind of a small, shifty back, number 9. He was their main guy. And then they had another guy bust one out pretty long, Anderson Castle. He's number 4. He's a bigger back, 6 foot, 220 pounds, transfer from App State, 6th year of college football. He's one of those guys. So just keep an eye out on some of those guys. And then Ryan, you already mentioned their wide receivers in the game. Barkate from Harvard, number 18, 6'1", 200-pound white dude. And then Kayshawn Brown and Samir Higgins are more like Isaiah Williams build, quick in and out kind of guys. Samir Higgins had a touchdown return a year or 2 ago against Ole Miss, so we got to be careful for that on a kind of a unique play. But I really think that Illinois should be able to maintain a line of scrimmage here, because that's what's going to win this game. So
Shane Battier is their best defensive player. Yeah, 24 years ago. Yeah. A lot of early top 25s have Illinois dropping. The only thing I could think of is if, Florida State gets put in their place because they dominated Alabama. But I don't know how Alabama would be in front of Illinois after all that. Illinois was impressive considering, Indiana struggled with Old Dominion.
Yep.
That was one to watch for future Illini fans to watch games. So I will say that, Old Dominion ran the ball pretty well on Indiana, especially with their quarterback zone read. I think he had 2 huge long touchdown runs off that. So those are some things to watch. As I said too, for Mendoza's good, but he's not Curtis Rourke.
Why are we talking about?
He was like, I'm just saying. We're talking about it because I saw people commenting on different things, but I also wanted to make mention of future opponents for Illinois to watch with the rankings of Illinois is going to drop some spots, and I'm thinking Illinois was impressive though. Like it was,
right, comparatively for sure. I mean,
that's what I meant. Like, what would make them drop in the eyes of people? I mean,
because it wasn't like the Illinois football team, dude, and it's not been good for a long time. And so, Nate Durst, what happened on the field goal? I believe it was Eli Conan and Eddie Turk got split, and then furthermore, David Alano didn't get any lift on the kick. He kicked it a little low. Not really understandable on a 28-yard field goal. So, Ryan, I'm looking at the teams in front of us. Like, the teams in front of us that did impress are teams that should move up: Miami, Ohio State, LSU. The teams in front of us that I don't see a team in front of us like Penn State was good against Nevada, but like they're already in front of. I don't see anybody behind us leapfrogging us. Maybe South Carolina does because of Va Tech. They handled that game. By the way, I don't know if you guys know a guy, but on Wednesday nights he hosted a gambling podcast and he was 5-1 this week. Just saying. called that one accurately. But
hey, and your boy right here is 1-0 on his lock pick. Toledo, baby.
So on that one for you.
That was nice, but that was my spot. I was going to be my pick anyway. So, but yeah. So you were 5-1, Kev.
Yeah.
And what was Matt?
I have to go look. It
wasn't good though. And I know his Kansas State barely beat North Dakota at home, and he was like, "Well, there goes my lock." I think that was it, wasn't it?
I thought he was on against Iowa State, but who knows? So,
I got a little quick recruiting nugget here. Illinois recruiting in the class of 2026 may still have a few spots left. Brett Bielema is urging people to kind of help, keep helping with this one. It's Micah Champion-Smith. Brett Bielema retweeted Micah Champion-Smith some stuff on X, and I think they're working to get this kid, the Vero Beach kid, who Illinois thought they were in a great spot with, and
mid to UCLA, yeah, 4-star kid,
mid to UCLA, and then you saw UCLA, and that's where the what Leva or whatever the hell his name is from. Yeah, Leva from Nico, and you go lay an egg like that and get dominated at home against Utah. So there's something there just to kind of keep an eye on. But yeah, so, and you know what? We're doing this Monday show 4 days away, really, from another big game. So we'll see where the AP poll stands there. We'll do some final thoughts here, Kev. And anything else you want to mention before we get to final thoughts?
Yeah, one of the frequent listeners, we shout him out a lot. Our guy Nathan Durst, his son, was playing in town. He's got a band. Nathan, put it in the chat. What's the name of the band again? I know you showed me, but said Will Riley and Boswell were there. Great weekend to celebrate the 05 team. Our guy Matty McCumber was there. Shared some of that stuff on Fade the Deuce. I'm sure he'll share some more stuff on Wednesday night. By the way, get your tickets. If you need tickets, go to TickPick. I figured out, I posted some of my tickets online. I realized how they make their money. They tell the seller straight up, hey, if you're asking for $50 for your ticket, you're going to get 40 back or whatever. But the buyers have no fees. So I love that idea. So Isaac Durst and the Midwestern Charm. So if you guys go check them out, that's one of our frequent listeners. Appreciate that. Ryan, before we get to quick final thoughts, did you have a champagne toast for anybody? Do you want to do a champagne toast offense, defense real quick?
Yeah, we'll just do that. We'll make sure we do that every week going forward. I just knew we were getting past 10 o'clock, and I try to get that done by before then. But so we'll do offense. You know what? Because the low hanging fruits, Hank Beatty. But I'll go Bowick.
Yeah.
Your first game in an Illinois uniform, and you have 2 touchdowns. And, could have had 3. I think that's a pretty impressive outing. I think, his size and athleticism and his hands, I think, are showing what he's going to be a very capable weapon. So champagne toast offensively to Justin Bowick. And then my defensive toast I will give to
go the obvious answer. Go do the obvious one. He deserves it.
Do the obvious one. Oh, go Gabe Ackus.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can come up with an interest. Okay. Yeah. So we'll do that. If I come up with one that's not obvious, we'll do Gabe Ackus because he deserves it. I'm glad that they ruled that a fumble early in the first quarter because it was a close one, but it did look like he got the ball before his arm was moving all the way forward. So, and I think I can speak for Kev. Our special teams toast is
Hank Beatty.
So we got Bowick, Ackus, Beatty. Now, Kev, your offense and defense.
Since I can't go, I don't want to go. I would go Beatty because I thought he was great. Love to go Altmaier here. There have been some other guys, but dude, you give it to this guy who just seems to find a way to make his way into the end zone for this team lately. His last 4 or 5 games, go look at it. Had a touchdown against Rutgers. Obviously, had the huge game against Northwestern. Central Illinois' own Aiden Lawfrey, sticking with the program, sticking with it, seeing it through a little bit of nagging soft tissue issues. 21 is lightning once he gets out in the white lightning once he gets out in the open field. So Aiden Lawfrey. And on the defensive end, I mentioned him earlier. 36 popped to me, man. That guy was impressive. So Tomowa Durje, like I'm gonna call him 36, man. Let's just say 36 was out there for me. So my toast, Tomiwa and Aiden Lawfrey from offense and defense.
I'm just impressed as hell that you can pronounce his name.
I don't even think I did. So we'll have to get him on the show and have him tell us how to say it.
We will, though. We'll get that down. So I'll start my final thought. You mentioned a little bit of it. Just the love and the how awesome it is to see Illini Nation, supporting the program. All the OGs, all the awesome, NFL players like Chase Brown, Newton, coming back to watch something that they helped build, right? Like, how cool is that to see? When Johnny Newton committed to Illinois and Lovie Smith, it was not cool, to come to Illinois. He turned down Mike Loxley and Maryland. He had a good thing going there. They had the Tua's brother. They had all that fun stuff. They had, they had some hype, right? Illinois and other good schools. He didn't just turn Maryland down. But and you get Chase Brown, who, again, came to Illinois with Lovie Smith. And they saw what this program was, and they helped turn it around. And now they can come back and hang out when they're not playing in the NFL to come watch a pretty much full stadium with a ranked team, with fans that believe, with players that are super talented, that believe, with an AD that believes, with a great coaching staff. I'm just so proud of what's being built here at Illinois. And just you never knew if it was going to happen for football. I think we always knew basketball would get turned around at some point, but football was one I really wasn't sure. And yes, Jason, I just mentioned Michael Champion Smith. He's basically saying we need to keep working on that guy because it looks like he might flip from UCLA. It wasn't just that too. Anyway, and awesome to see Will Riley back to game and the 2005, the 20-year reunion. It was just what a weekend, and it was a beautiful night. So couldn't have been happier for how things are going within our Illini athletics program. So that's my final thought for the night.
Mine's will be a little bit off the radar here, man. And it's just because, hey, you make Sports Center top 10 in one of your early games, and then all of a sudden maybe people start watching you a little bit, paying attention. Illini women's soccer 5-0. Illini women's soccer 5-0. That's normally not the fall women's sport I talk about. The fall women's sport I talk about, I'm not going to talk about because they're not good and they're playing really poorly, and it's really frustrating because they used to be really good over there at fall. But Illini women's soccer,
won too. They won.
Yeah, they beat Vanderbilt with their first women's volleyball program in 45 years. This is their first year having a volleyball program back. Illinois lost the first set, so woohoo! I'm sorry, I'm just very frustrated with what's happening with that program. But I'm really excited with what's going on with the women's soccer program. Even though I couldn't care less about soccer, I do like to see all Illinois sports do well. They're 5-0. A new coach leading them up. Maybe they can have a resurgence like Illinois women's basketball. Just another tip of the cap there to Josh Whitman.
You better check. You better make sure there's not a burglar in your house.
Yeah, wow. To Josh Whitman and what he's done. So it's really cool. So appreciate all the listeners. One last thought on final thoughts. Western Michigan is a sellout. There are tickets available on TickPick. Once again, TickPick, not the other type of pick, but the ticket pick. You can get those. I put my seats on there, the two that I have for my seats.
Say that again, Kev. What's that called again? What is it?
TickPick. No fees to the buyer, which is to me really important. I have no problem with having fees as a seller. You are doing the business on my behalf. You are not doing the business on my behalf as a buyer. So the buyer is what you pay is what if it's $50 a ticket, you buy two of them, it's $100. So go get your Western Illinois ticket, Western Michigan tickets now if you can. I looked at the USC tickets; those are not $50. So
no. But you know what? It doesn't get better than not charging the buyer more money. I mean, I think that's brilliant.
Right.
TickPick. I mean, if there only were a way to get them to sponsor this podcast, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way. You're going to keep plugging it all season long, I think.
Hey, by the way, I will say this: if you want Western Michigan tickets for the Illinois game, and you want to buy them on a secondary site, by all means, do so. I encourage you to go to TickPick. I encourage you to do it before Saturday. Illinois beats Duke on Saturday, those tickets are going to go up. They're going to be more expensive. Trust me. Western Michigan's already a sellout. We come in that game 2-0, top 10. Western Michigan coming to the house. Trust me, those tickets are going to be a lot more expensive on Monday morning than they would be on Friday night.
And those USC tickets might be the most expensive tickets there's ever been in a long time.
Until the Ohio State game.
Yeah, yes, but what I'm saying is, because you got that Indiana game. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's an exciting time. Yeah, who knows? It could be Max Sutter, right? Flipping a tight end. I don't know. Alabama.
I'd still like to play for the coach who recruited me.
Exactly. Kalen DeBoer might not be there. So with that said, we'll be back. Fade the Deuce Wednesday. We'll find out how bad Matt McCumber actually did, even though he may be a loser on his picks, but he was a winner this past weekend.
He was on the sideline holding the trophies. Yeah, he did all right.
Right. You were hugging Bruce Weber. You're reminiscing with Darren Williams. I mean, come on. So we'll be back Wednesday night, probably 9 o'clock Central Time. Fade the Deuce. I would follow Kevin if I haven't yet about his picks. If you guys are interested in making money off, Kevin's been making money on his picks, so you should see his house.
Well, it just fell apart. You heard it, so it's gone. It's gone.
There are tornadoes in Oklahoma. That's probably what it was.
Yeah,
so we'll see you guys Wednesday night. Fade the Deuce. Swap me out.
ILL.
I and I. Ain't